What is the greenhouse effect and how does it occur? The greenhouse effect refers to the way in which the Earth's atmosphere helps trap some extra heat from the sun, just like the glass in a greenhouse helps trap more heat than the surrounding air. So that if you walk into a greenhouse on a particularly warm day, you might find that inside the greenhouse is even warmer. So the Earth has a blanket of air around it called our atmosphere, and that air is what allows there to be life on Earth. Without the air, the Earth would be more like the moon. And on the moon, during the day, temperatures can reach 260 degrees Fahrenheit. That's hotter than water boils, and can get as cold as 280 degrees below zero in Fahrenheit at night. So if we did not have the Earth's atmosphere, the Earth would be more like the moon and have very extreme temperatures. Now, solar radiation travels from the sun, light from the sun, also known to scientists as electromagnetic radiation, and can pass through our atmosphere at the wavelengths of the sunlight. Sometimes there might be clouds in the way. Clouds in the way. And so the sunlight might be reflected back into space. But oftentimes the light reaches the Earth's surface. When the sunlight reaches the Earth's surface, it warms the Earth. So there's a heating that takes place. And then, after that heating takes place, light is actually radiated from the Earth. We think of it more as heat, but it's that long wavelength of light called infrared radiation, and that radiates away from the Earth, and it could pass into space. But a lot of it, or sometimes, it's trapped by molecules in our atmosphere known as carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide molecules are particularly good at absorbing the heat from thermal energy or infrared radiation. So at this wavelength here, that particular wavelength, carbon dioxide is very good at absorbing. And then when carbon dioxide absorbs that infrared radiation, it then re-radiates it in all directions. And the effect of this is that some of the sunlight energy, rather than leaving the Earth's atmosphere, ends up being re-radiated back into the Earth's atmosphere. And that has an effect of increasing our overall temperature. Scientists actually believe that the Earth's temperature on average might be closer to 0 degrees Fahrenheit without any carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So we need some carbon dioxide to keep our overall temperatures at levels that can support life. However, we are continuing to put more and more carbon dioxide into the air, which is leading to what is called global warming, which is separate from this basic idea of the greenhouse effect. The greenhouse effect just talks about how the carbon dioxide and certain gases in our atmosphere tend to trap a little bit more heat than otherwise would be there. Like a greenhouse helps it be a little bit warmer than the outside air outside the greenhouse. So carbon dioxide in our atmosphere tends to trap more of the sun's energy and re-radiate it back to Earth. So the next question might be, where does this carbon dioxide come from? How does it get into our atmosphere? And so we might start by finding out, well, one of the things that allows carbon dioxide to be in our atmosphere is that we drive cars that release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere from the fossil fuels they burn as gasoline. We use electricity, and therefore from power plants, the power plants that are burning coal give off some carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Those are two big ways that we put carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. So how does the carbon get into the atmosphere? First, there might have been a plant or animal that lived long, long ago, and that plant or animal died and then decayed through the natural processes of bacteria and decay. And then over a long time, the decayed material is then buried in the earth, and eventually, under pressure, so deep in the earth, as layers are deposited over it, so millions of years ago, you get that dead decaying material turning into something like oil that we then pump by wells out of the earth. And we use that oil, or petroleum, to make things like gasoline that we use in our cars. And when we burn that gasoline, it has come from a living thing, and all living things have carbon in them. And when you burn carbon in the presence of oxygen, because you need oxygen to burn things, one of the byproducts is carbon dioxide. And that carbon dioxide is what we put into the air when we use the oil, which is made into gasoline, and burn it in our cars. Another thing that another fuel that we get out of the earth is coal. And coal comes from a similar decaying process of living things, and so it also has carbon. And when we burn coal in our power plants to generate the electricity that we need to do light our homes and use our computers and do all the other essentials that we have, that electricity, if it comes from a coal-burning plant, is also releasing CO2 into our atmosphere. And earlier, human beings did not use so much coal or gasoline, because if you're riding around in a horse-drawn buggy, you're not burning fossil fuels. So now we're looking at how much extra CO2 is being put into the atmosphere by human activities. And as countries that have traditionally perhaps ridden bikes more, say like China, and walked more on foot, decide that they also would like the same level of comfort that we enjoy here in the United States, there will be more and more people driving cars. And this is a concern for the amount of CO2 that is put into the atmosphere. There's another gas in our atmosphere that contributes to the greenhouse effect. That gas is called methane, and it's written as CH4 in terms of its chemical composition, and called methane. And methane also comes from dead and decaying plant matter. So anything that was once living, as it decays, can give off the gas methane. Cows, which we use for milk, right? And then we have, and I can't draw cows. Looks more like a horse maybe. We'll put some spots on him. So the cows give off methane. And any animal does. Human beings actually give off methane. Methane gas is the gas in sewers that comes from the decaying matter that is from our bodies. And cows also can give off methane. And typically, and oddly enough, it comes from their burps. Because they have large, very, very large stomachs where they ruminate their cud. And as they're digesting what they've eaten, they burp. So the more meat we want to eat, and the more milk and the more needs we have for cows, the more methane we're releasing into the atmosphere, which is kind of an interesting side effect of having a diet high in meat. So then this methane is actually 20 times better at trapping the thermal energy radiating from the earth. Radiating from the earth, 20 times better than carbon dioxide at trapping that energy and re-radiating back to the earth. It actually re-radiates in all directions, which includes back to the earth. So all decaying matter does this. Sometimes people take landfills where garbage is put, and some of that garbage comes from living things, right? You've eaten carrots or thrown some carrots out that went bad. And methane then is released from the landfills. Some people capture that methane and to keep it out of our atmosphere, just burn it off and leave it at that. But now they're starting to trap that energy and use it for generating electricity. So, in summary, without our atmosphere, the Earth would not be able to support life. So we need our atmosphere. And we actually need some CO2 in our atmosphere, or else our temperature would be too low. But human activity has increased the amount of CO2 being put into the atmosphere because of our burning of fossil fuels, and things like having increased meat needs, and use of animals and livestock, and growing the animals and livestock for those purposes. We've also put things like methane into our atmosphere. And all of these gases are trapping more than the usual amount of solar radiation. So that leads to slight increases in the average temperature of the Earth.